Bem, amigos do Quinto Elemento, estamos de volta em Moscou, novamente para discutir geoeconomia e geopolítica com já o super conhecido professor Alexander Dugin. Professor, thank you so much for your time. It's always an honor to be here with you in Moscow.
Benvenido.
Yes. Now the second time we will make this conversation. The first one we discuss about the concept of hegemony and multipolarity, and a lot of things happens in these 2 years. I think it's 2 years we met last time. And I'd like to start exactly with the gift you gave to me. That's your new book about the Trump revolution. Because Trump started his government in a very bold way, challenging the economic order, challenging also the diplomatic order, but in a subtle way, as long as I can see. He's technology-driven. Technology-driven, a shift of a new ideology that's more or accelerating in a certain way. Technology to the way of transhumanism, a revolution of AI, also a new technocratic form of government, as long as I can see, with this new pact between the Silicon Valley and Trump. At the same time, it looks like that Trump are promoting a new order based in the great powers, breaking down the world in different regions and respect this new multipolarity. How do you see this? It's not a kind of paradox or conflict between the Silicon Valley alliance that try to implement this new technology-driven ideological shift and Trump deploying this new great powers order. How do you see this?
So first of all, I think that Trump 2.0 is very different from Trump 1.0. So there are two different persons, political, ideological persons, and Trump 2.0 is a kind of ideology that is much more than just opportunistic populist Trump 1.0. So I think that is different phenomenon in the field of the ideology. And when we try to deconstruct Trump's ideology or Trumpism 2.0, we could identify two different and not necessarily identical or harmoniously adjusted to each other poles in this ideology. First of all, it is traditional American populism. It is called paleoconservatism. It's something very, very different from neoconservatism. It is not hegemonic, it is not imperialist, it is not obsessed with geopolitical crash of Russia or a radical idea of American democratic, liberal democratic empire, as was the idea of neoconservatives. That is much more traditional, populist, nationalist, conservatism represented by Steve Bannon, for example. That was already present in the first term of Trump, but now it is huge amount of the MAGA movement. MAGA movement, there are supporters who have suffered during interim period between first term Trump and the second, and during these 8 years, this core, MAGA core, has grown intellectually and politically. It started with some weird concepts of QAnon, reptiloids, conspiracy theories, and now it is kind of ideology, of the conservative ideology with elaborated agenda to restore populist politics, to pull the American people in the center of the politics. That is completely new ideology, new comparing with liberalism, dominating globalism, liberal democracy, and neoconservatism. So that is alternative ideology. And much more interesting and important element of this Trumpism, the second pole of Trumpism, is what is called right tech, Silicon Valley. So apparently they they are different because the conservatives are in favor of traditional values, religion, American way of life, and technocrats, they are in favor of technological development, post-humanism, and something like that. So it seems that they are contrary, but they are overlapping in Trumpism, and where? So that is important. We could not understand Trump correctly without defining where these two fields of different ideological approaches coincide. Mm-hmm. They coincide precisely on one point, but it is a very important point. They both reject liberal democracy, globalism, left accelerationism, woke DEI, this idea of the global expansion of liberal democratic values imposed on other countries. So they both, populists and technocrats, they are enemies of the dominant liberal democratic system. Mm-hmm. If we could easily understand the reasons by which the conservative, paleoconservative core is driven, that is not so obvious or transparent or evident in the case of right tech. Why? We could ask why the persons like Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, mm-hmm. Andreessen, including Alex Karp, the globalist, transhumanist, futurist technocrats, why they joined Trump, and what was the reason of their absolute support for Trumpism that maybe was decisive factor in his re-election. So why they have joined the camp? Not just opportunism. That should be some. There should be something more, some more important and more serious. And when we try to read correctly the ideas of these right tech or these Silicon Valley's tycoons, their ideology, we could find in Peter Thiel, who is behind J.D. Vance and many other important figures in Trump's administration, that they have come to the conclusion that liberal democracy is the obstacle on the way of the technological development, because they disperse the efforts, they woke agenda is totally irrelevant concerning the real efficacy, the real effectiveness of mm-hmm. the economical and technological growth, and there was a tendency called right accelerationism. Right. The people like Curtis Yarvin, Nick Land, they have created long ago the concept of the dark enlightenment, the paradoxal idea. So the liberal democracy, humanitarianism, woke agenda, transgenderism, and so on, that is included in the left accelerationism is in the reality the obstacle on the way of technological development. So overlapping fields between conservatives, paleoconservatives, and this right tech is precisely the common rejection of the liberal democracy, democratic party, globalism, mm-hmm. globalization, and so on. So there is something metaphysically common for them, but if the traditionalists, they refuse left liberalism because of its modern and postmodern features, the right tech rejects the same liberal democracy because of the lack of sufficiently postmodern features. So the motivations are different polarized, but the result of their convergence is Trump. So Trump is based on these two poles, not necessarily very well friendly and very well fit to each other, but that is precisely a kind of ideological paradigm of Trumpism 2.0. And J.D. Vance, as the symbolic ideological figure, belongs to both of these fields, because he is very known and consequent paleo-conservative, and at the same time he is the figure promoted by Peter Thiel. And Trump, with his charismatic nature, authoritarian features, and big plans, big geopolitical plans, he is a kind of top of all these elements. So he is above them. He is above this ideology, but this ideology, two-polar ideology, bipolar ideology of Trumpism supports him, because without him nothing could be possible. So he is the key element of all this a little bit strange, weird ideological construction between paleo-conservatives conservatives and the representatives of the Dark Enlightenment. And Trump is on the top. And that gives him a kind of possibility to look at the world outside of the liberal democratic agenda, outside of globalism. And immediately he perceives totally different situation, multipolarity that already exists. It is denied because of ideological reasons of liberal Democrats. They didn't want to accept the existence, the very existence of multipolarity. They insisted that there is no such thing. There is only global world, end of history. In spite of all, and if there were something, there was something like multipolarity, they tried to kill that, to destroy that, to cancel that, to cancel Russia, to make strategical defeat on us, to counter China, and to decompose these newly emerging poles, civilizational states, to decompose them, to destroy them, to debunk them. And I think they have lost. They have lost because now Trump, outside of their artificial agenda, of their, in spite of the image they wanted to create at any price, that everything is going well with globalization. Now Trump has obtained the new horizon of understanding, so he could recognize that there is the other poles than the West, civilization state, China, Russia, India. There is Islamic civilization, maybe not friendly, maybe hostile, but they are more or less civilizationally sovereign. So Trump is, in that sense, he is a realist, but the realist of special kind. He is not traditional realist relying on the national state. He is civilizational realist, something very like to what Saul Huntington about return of the civilizations.
I see. I'd like to explore one personage you mentioned, that's Peter Thiel, because in a certain way, he's building, as long as I can see, like a new deep state that could be stronger than the liberals' a deep state in the past. Do you think that one, this is real, could be a risk that he's with Musk building a new deep state stronger and bolder than the past, using technology, surveillance, technology for control people, also try to create a new world order out of the states, because we are using technology to do this. And at the same time, also looks like for me they are not only have a political and practical program, but also intellectual one, because they attached this program to this new dark alignment idea that also produce a society of caste and all of these two classes of people and the new revolution in AI. So my question is I'd like to explore a little bit more, is the role of Peter Thiel in building up a possible new deep state is stronger and bolder than we have the past with the liberals, but with this new kind of or technocratic republic or technology republic. How do you see this, Professor?
So first of all, I agree, and I have written recently, after my first book on Trump was finished, I've continued, obviously, to explore this fascinating process in the world and this deep change in the global balance of power that shifts, serious shift, irreversible shifts in ideology. So there is, we are living in really a revolutionary world, and studying deeper and deeper Trumpism, the phenomenon of Trumpism, I have arrived exactly to the same conclusion, that there should be something like deeper state. And I have written and published here in Russia and in English in the United States as well, in Arctos journal, the article that is called precisely Deeper State.
Okay.
The deeper state. There was deep state. That is, this deep state was, in eyes of the Trumpists, deep state signifies liberal democracy, globalist lobby, globalist networks through the world, that are motivated by their vision of the future, and they are very skeptical for national interests of the Western or not Western country. And that is interesting that Benjamin Netanyahu has used the word deep state as well. So it is not anymore conspiracy theory about the Masons, Zionists, as it was before in the time of QAnon. But now it is technical term that represent precisely the omnipotence and a huge power of ideological group that led the United States of America and European Union before Trump came to power. So that is concrete. The meaning of the term deep states is now ideologically, politically, personally very, very concrete. It is not just abstraction. So there is deep state, and Trump now is fighting against it. Trump has won deep state, and now he tries to dismantle and to finish it, so destroy it. But there should be something deeper, some instance that has given to Trump the opportunity to put his ideas into practice, and helped somehow to dethrone globalists. They had totality of the power of the minds, legacy media, and so on, the economy. They controlled everything, but Trump has received some special support from nowhere. It seems from deeper state. So I'm calling that deeper state as just a concept. And I think that what can much better to that is precisely Peter Thiel, and his idea that liberal democracy is obstacle on the way of technological development or singularity and so on. So that could be really a real deeper state, and I think there we could presume the clash between the national populist pole, represented by Bannon, for example, CPAC, and the other, and this right tech or dark enlightenment, deeper state. So they could clash, and we have seen already the first signs of this disagreement between two poles overlapping in their mutual hatred towards globalists, to Democrats, and so on. But there started some debates between Bannon and Musk, between Laura Loomer, a representative of hardcore far-right populism or right populism, conservative populism, against Vivek Ramaswamy. So there was already some first glances of possible clash between between deeper state and populism. But interesting, if we follow Elon Musk tried to respond in the first attack of Bannon against him. Immediately, he tried to respond. Oh, we will overcome you. You are not important. So we are in charge of the government. We are dodgy. We are the drivers of the Trump's success. Musk tried to do that, but immediately he has received so many critical and negative comments in the x.com controlled by him, so he was obliged to stop that immediately, because these technocrats, they absolutely need the support of these national populists. Without them, they could not dream to overcome left accelerationists. So that is very interesting. So deeper state could not act today without some alliance with this illiberal, traditionalist, conservative core. It is indispensable, absolutely indispensable for deeper state. So deeper state could not freely declare their plans. They should adjust them to the popular demand of the conservative majority in the United States and elsewhere. So I think that is very exciting process, how deeper state could continue to impose its own agenda against left liberals, but at the same time, it could not receive totally full-hearted support from conservatives. And for example, Alex Jones, that is very keen in defining the most important intellectual and philosophical points in American politics. He already has dedicated to the criticism of high tech some of his emissions, his programs. So I think that is very interesting and very exciting process, how this deeper state will overcome deep state, and how he could conserve very precious, indispensable support of the traditionalists and national populists. It is a challenge. I think that is very interesting. They need each other. So if we consider the split, if we imagine the split between them, that will be the end for Trumpism. So the two wings of this Trumpism are totally indispensable to each other. So they will be obliged to find a way to coexist. Otherwise, there will be no deeper state, neither the deeper state nor paleoconservatives, because the globalists, they are still here, and they would use the moment of this possible contradiction and split immediately. They are still very powerful. Deep state is here. He has received the serious hit and blow, but it is here, and it controls for Europe and many other parts of the world. This globalist, left liberal deep state, maybe he somehow controls in your country as well until certain points, because this globalist liberal democratic network is neither real left nor right, is a mixture between progressist ideology and high finance. So that is not normal leftism, it is capitalism. At the same time, it is not traditional capitalism, it is new form of left capitalism, so-called. So they could not find direct supporters, globalists in left, neither left nor right, but they try to control and manipulate both.
On top of that, you mentioned about the globalists. I'm curious to ask you exactly this, because a lot of people, mainly in Brazil, after Trump and the Dodge Department made a huge attack against USAID and the arm of NGOs that the globalists used to send money to implement their ideology around the world, they said, okay, now the wokeism and this globalism is dead. But my question to you is really dead? Or, example, Fukuyama ideas, the idea of the end of history, is already dead, or just waiting for the right moment to come back and try to gain power again? I'm asking this because you can see, I can see at least, or I think, we have some signs of reaction. Example, we have the elections in Romania. And the Supreme Court of Romania was used by globalists to implement their ideology and keep the power there. Now is the similar in South Korea. There was impeachment of the prime minister. The new one got as a prime minister and president, and he was impeachment again. And now the Supreme Court yesterday bring him back to the power. In Brazil, the Supreme Court is totally captured by neoliberalism and wokeism. And for me, it's clear that one arm of the neoliberalism got to them to implement the ideology, control the world, are the Supreme Courts, as using courts as agents to guarantee this world constitution, try to implement this global government. So, how do you see this, Professor Dugin? Fukuyama, the end of history, is already dead as an idea or not? And how this new Trump and also the theory of the great powers like Russia as a great power, the great Russia, great China, great America, and they can fight against this legal courts to break this control of the globalist and the arm of the globalists that they're using the legal system to do it.
I think that now, after Trump's revolution, many things become transparent. For example, that there is the global network of totally corrupted judges that represent a kind of the instrument, the tool of implementation of this end of history agenda. So we imagined judges, a court system in different countries as something independent. But that, in the reality, was long ago totally controlled and corrupted by Soros, by globalist networks. So we discover, and United States is discovering as well, that there are so-called activist judges. So the judges should be neutral, should be objective. That's the meaning of system, of this branch of power and division of powers and democracy, but they are activists. So they are in favor of one of the political parties. So they are ideologically motivated. So they are not judges. That is corruption. It is not important how much they have received from people, from USAID, from globalists, in which country. Maybe that was the fact, maybe not, but they are ideologically motivated. That make them totally incompatible with real democracy. That is contradiction in the meaning of judge, of its function. They are totally corrupted, not because of the money they've got. Maybe they've got the money, but that is another side of the history. But they are corrupted, being weaponized ideologically against that or this political figure. So they are working on the behalf of some ideological structure that wasn't clear before. So it is the new discovery. So the judge in all the countries should be carefully examined and studied because it seems it is very possible that they are already totally corrupted. Not financially, or maybe financially also, but that is secondary, but ideologically corruption. So the corrupted judges of the world, they now become a kind of new image, new meme. So corrupted judge, if you are a judge, maybe you are corrupted, maybe you are activist judge. Activist, so you prefer one from by ideological reasons, one part better than other. So you're not neutral, you're not objective. So it is not fair. So you're corrupted because you are motivated, not because you have received money. That is very important, and that is precisely what how we could explain the situation in Romania, in Brazil, in Southern Korea, in the United States as well. So the globalists, when they ruled everything, politics, executive power, they have infiltrated the court system as well as education, finance. They have infiltrated everything, but they have put their attention in the corruption of the court system, legal system, all through the world. That was the tool to end the history. So, because when there are some historical opposition to this system, judges will come, corrupted activist judges will come and stop that. For example, preventing this or other candidature in the elections. So the judges have destroyed, corrupted judges all through the world. Globalist, liberal, left liberal judges. They have destroyed the democracy. So that is the dictatorship. Liberalism has become dictatorship, and precisely this system of global corrupted judges is one of new feature of this Fukuyama project. So in order to end the history, you need corrupt the judges. Very bad idea, very anti-democratic idea, but the globalists are so. The second point, I think, that concerning this very existence of this project. So obviously, the left liberals, they don't want to recognize their defeat. They want revenge against Trump, against Putin, against Xi Jinping, including against Modi, because there is the huge campaign against Narendra Modi in India, and his opponent, Rahul Gandhi, is totally supported by Soros and by the same representative of end of the history ideology, liberals. So there is the fight against these sovereign multipolar leaders, including Trump. And we see that Europe is in the hands of these corrupted liberals. Many regimes in the world are controlled by them. But what is important? I think that we shouldn't underestimate the role of United States. When Trump has destroyed USA ID, when he has closed and cancelled the Department of Education, he made a huge blows against this system, because the money, political support, strategical support, diplomatical support of all this network before Trump came to power was concentrated in Washington. So Washington was the heart of this monster, a global liberal monster. And when Trump and Trumpists, they have taken out the heart of the monster is still alive, but without hearts he could not last for long. So they have got out the center of the end of the history structure, and they started the battle in the center, in the capital of that, capital of globalism. So without that, without this center, it's very, very difficult. It will be very difficult to replace this metropolis of the hell that left liberal started to create. So it is hard to replace. So now the place in the center, and the headquarter of globalization, of this liberalism, is in the hand of the rebels. So, as Denin, a very important author, American author, has said that this time it should be, he has written that before Trump came to power, this time we should make regime change in United States. So, making regime change operation in United States, so you take out the most important element, so processor in the computer, so the heart of the machine. So and there is the main elements, and without that you have only interface, some additional printers and something like that, and scanner, Brazilian scanner, European printer, some earphones in Romania, some screen in Southern Korea, but there is no more computer. The computer itself is in the hand of other totally other power, ideological power. It is about ideology. Because all the structures, all the political branches, all the political systems and institutions, finally, at the end of the day, they are just tools of some ideology. And there is ideological revolution in the United States. And in the United States, the left liberalism is replaced by not left, illiberalism. So, and that changes everything. So the functioning of distribution of orders to all this system created by previous administration and decades of the rule of the globalists in the United States now is disbanded, dismantled. So it is the process. We are living in the process when there will be the ending of corruption in the minds of the corrupted judges, because it was they will stop to receive the help from USAID. They will stop to receive material aid and help. But most important element, they are going to lose ideological support from the center, from the headquarters, where rebels now are in power.
Okay, I'd like to explore now the Russian perspective about the world, because first of all, I'd like to confirm if you think that the model will be the model that will best describe this new multipolarity world. That's the theory of great powers. So the Americans, the great American, like a civilization state. Great Russian as a civilization state, China also as a civilization state. The rules of the Islam is like Emirates, UNA. So how this could be, if they could be also, and in this new order, what scared a little bit to the Brazilians, because we are there. You see these great powers. We don't want to be a colony or a new colony again, but in a certain way, honestly speaking, for us today, we have only nominal sovereignty, not real one. We'd like to have real one. And part of this woke agenda try to control Brazil and keep us in the global south under development. But in a certain way, we see that even China has a plan for energy transition. And this climate agenda or environmentalist agenda, in a certain way, is to change the energy, the way we explore energy from flows, right, to energy flows. And in such a way, keep Brazil under development again, and also as a kind of gauge for us. So how do you see this new force in terms of the theory of great powers? And if you could explain also the vision of Russian about this, the idea of the third Rome, because a lot of people in Brazil understand, hear that, say, okay, this is, what does it mean exactly? This means that a zone of influence that goes beyond the borders. So in a certain way, you'll be like a new imperium. What does it mean? It's a new hegemony force as well, and they are concerned about that. So would you mind to explain a little bit? I know that's a huge question, but how will be this order, the Russian view of that, if you do want to also to create a bipolarity or a tripolarity in the world with a zone of influence and new colonies? How see this? In the Russian perspective.
First of all, now we have two versions of multipolarity. In the theory elaborated here in Russia with contacts with our Chinese, Indian, and Western partners, we have arrived to the theoretical theory of multipolar worlds. Mm-hmm. So that is, I would say, very, very kind and very friendly concept, because it accepts as the poles not only great powers that are already there, and there are four and a half, if we consider that there could be split between United States as independent, obviously independent civilizational state, and Western Europe. So maybe there will be two Wests, not only one. Mm-hmm. So, and we see that the split is going on every day. So we could suggest or accept that there will appear soon some other West European civilizational state, independent from America, from us, and so on. So 4 or 5. India is obviously in a civilizational state, so it is not bipolarity already, but 4 polarity or 5th polar world, something like that. But in theory of multipolar world, we agree to reserve the same place of the pole to other civilizations. So, for example, we consider that unification of Islamic world, between pacification, the relations between Shia and Sunni, and Arabs and Iranian and Turks and Urdu and other. So there could appear Islamic civilizational state. There is no Islamic civilizational state, but there is Islamic civilization. So in theory of multipolar world, we reserve openly the place of this Islamic civilizational state, and we are dealing with Islamic civilization as if this civilizational state is already here. That is a credit, geopolitical multipolar credit. In the geopolitics, I suggest the term distributed heartland. So that we were heartland, unique heartland in bipolar world. Now we are distributing this status. We have given this status to United States of America. Mm-hmm. America has its own heartland. There's Trump zone, the Republican zone in the center, heartland, American heartland, and American controlled by liberal sea power. So the same for Europe. We could grant that in kind of project of De Gaulle vision of independent Europe. We see that we give somehow the status of heartland to China and to India. So everything until now, everything fits very well. But when we are speaking about civilizations that didn't yet join different countries and people in the process of creation of some civilizational state, there is in our vision, in the theory of multipolar world, that is the future. So we could accept something that doesn't exist yet as something that will exist in the future, and treat them in this futures in a global market. So we are dealing with Islamic world as if there is such a thing as Islamic civilizational state. The same for Africa and the same for America, Latin America. So that is why for us it is so important the symbolical representation in BRICS, not only of our friend Brazil, that is the main support of multipolarity until now from Latin America, but as well Mexico, Argentina, Chile, and other country of Latin America. So we are proposing to treat Latin America as if there is some already realized the project between Perón and Getúlio Vargas, something is already done. So we grant this place in the multipolarity for the regions or the great spaces that they didn't yet make a civilizational state. But in the American perspective, and I am calling precisely that the great powers world order. I have spoken about that with John Mearsheimer. With this concept doesn't give such credit, geopolitical credit to the other. They regard precisely already existing poles, American, Russian, Indian, Chinese, maybe European, as something that passes reality check. And all the other, they should find their way by themselves. And in that sense, they could be regarded as just frontiers, not necessarily united, not necessarily integrated, but this concept of greater power world order regards them. If you don't want to create civilizational states, you will be our colonists. So that is not just imposed imperialism. So if you don't want to become great, and in order to become great, you need to make some integration. If you refuse to be great, you will be our colony. Maybe of China, maybe economical, maybe political, maybe cultural, colony of United States. If you don't care about yourself, we are not going to care about you more than necessary. So that is difference between theory of multipolar worlds and BRICS promoted by us. We are very, very gently, we are friendly, and we are humanly open and ready to recognize something that will take place only in the future, presumably, already now. So that is the BRICS. And there is the great powers world order based on cynical realism, proper to American international relations, that say, for example, Russia is great power, territory, resources, historical tradition, third Rome ideology. So we are going to treat that because it is already, if not as a kind of presuming great power, but really existing. The same for India, the same for China, the same maybe for European Union. But if, for example, European Union will not make effort to rearrange itself as some sovereign pole, if European Union will not want to make Europe great again, mega project promoted by Elon Musk, mega, not MAGA, that is their fault. So we will divide that. That is not active imperialism or hegemony, but that is just cold consideration that there are some civilizational states, they are really, really poles of sovereignty, and there are the other. So, in our opinion, we need to promote their unification. So, Brazil is doomed to be just the part of the second world, not third, second world, alone, isolated. Because it's in spite of many resources you have, you lack some very important points to be really sovereign. In order to achieve the sovereignty, you need unification of the Latin America. So, putting together all the countries of Latin America, you could create a full-scale, totally independent, really sovereign civilizational state. So there is a bit bifurcation point. Either you agree to be frontiers, the territory of the competition between civilizational state, or you make efforts, you overcome your differences, and you create the real superpower, Latin American superpower. In our opinion, Russians are in favor of this. Americans don't care, I think, too much about that, about the destiny. The only way, that is why they construct the wall against you, against Latin America. So they treat you as the frontiers. So they could go to you, come to you, and you shouldn't go to them. So they care about their identity, and they doesn't care absolutely about your identity. You could glorify it, you could save it, you could affirm it, you could abandon. It's up to you. So we are much more open-hearted, I would say. In that sense, and we accept something that didn't happen yet as possibility that it will happen in the future. So I think that is much more humanistic. But now we are dealing with not only these two partly coinciding and partly diverging version between our understanding, interpretation of multipolarity and the great power world order conceived by Trumpists, but there is as well globalists that try to fight against us and against Trumpists, and there are nationalists who don't care about strategy. They just limited to their reduced interests, so they would like to promote conflicts between one Islamic state and another Islamic state, conflict between one Latin American country and the other. So there are globalists, nationalists, and these two versions of multipolarity, complicated, complex system. And I think it is more and more clear that small nationalists, they are working on the behalf of the globalists. So they are not just sincere and honest representative of their identities. They are playing the not transparent game. They are new tools of Soros. So I don't have a confidence in many far-right movements in the world, nationalists, because they're just tools. The other tools, wokyists and far-right nationalists, narrow nationalists, they are part of the same game, and they help to globalists and liberals to destroy multipolarity and undermine great powers world order.
Well, this happens even in Brazil. We have some movements in the right wing that clearly contaminated by liberalists that are trying to avoid the real conservatives to take power and use this political force just to take the power and implement liberalism again with the same agenda. But I understand, just to my last question, is that's a long-term view, the theory of the great powers and state civilizations, and depends, of course, if you in Brazil are be able to assume our destiny and our real sovereignty and say, I want to do this. I understand this totally. But at the same time, I think I saw your interview of you, and you mentioned a very interesting concept. You said, look, the conflict Russians have today is a conflict against this globalism and leftism in different countries. Even here, Russians have some infiltrates in different countries, so it's not a conflict between nations or among nations, but against the system that is around, right, split around. In this way, I agree, we have this in Brazil as well. This transitional period to this new multipolarity world, and the way that Soros and this globalists trying to still fighting, do you think that could be one possibility is create focus or it's like civil wars in the countries, because the leftism, globalists, wokeisms are trying to create almost civil wars in the same way that Anna Hart said in the past that we will face this civil wars in the countries, because that's the new way they are doing war and using all of tools as gun, weaponize everything, money, food, books, even the media. So do you think that possibly this transition period in some countries will reflect civil wars to create this new structure that could be born in the future, or it could be resolved politically?
Quite possible, quite possible. So first of all, we need to understand that globalists, if, for example, we imagine that they create their own party that will defend their ideas, they will fail in any country. So they could not be represented openly. So they have their networks, but they corrupt the other system. They could not declare. We have the left liberal political party defending globalization and of history. They will receive zero support, or almost zero, because including the people who is working on them in different countries, they explain that betrayal and treason of their own national interests by some different elements. They don't like this regime, they don't like this leader, they don't like this person or political structure. So it is never direct, but always indirect. Carl Schmitt called that potestas indirectas. Potestas indirecta, that is indirect power, not openly. So if, for example, we could oblige globalists to create their own army, their own movements in any country, we will destroy them in one day. And today, because absolute majority of the human population refuses to this globalist agenda when it is explained openly. So we want to replace you by migrants, we want to replace migrants by robots, we will destroy you, we will create a global chaos, and in order to overcome the chaos we have created, we need to propose global government to solve the problem we have done ourselves. So that is their agenda in real world, and when this agenda would be proposed to the people, they would say, you are crazy, we are going to kill you all. There will be no Soros, no Bill Gates, no Obama, no Hillary Clinton. We will crush you, we will hang you. There will be the end of globalists if they start civil war on their behalf. So how to save their power, how to revenge that this multipolarity, rising multipolarity, and how to restore their global control only by using indirect situation. So there will be no civil war between globalists, left liberals, and the other, because they has no chance to win it or to start it. So they will be destroyed in the first hour. But they try to promote. They are trying now. They will try more and more to start the war between the countries, as in Ukraine, as in Middle East. So not between globalists and all the rest, liberals and illiberals, because the absolute majority of the humanity is illiberal. If you ask them. If you don't ask them, you could create the everybody support walk. But if they come to the voting machine, it is clearly different situation. If both are prohibited to participate in the elections, that is what is the next step of Trumpism, to prohibit to an existing person to participate in elections, and American elections, and the results will be absolutely different, because until now the globalists tried to create this virtual support for their actions, for their candidates. So, but they will try to create the artificial conflicts between one part of population against the other. So civil wars that already are going. Ukraine war is civil war. What is going on in Syria, in Libya, in Iraq? These are civil wars. It's not about liberals. There is zero support for liberals in Arabic world. But there are so many huge and very violent and very cruel wars. They will start to ignite the conflict, the catastrophes, the pandemias, and many other things, in order to destabilize the situation, to sabotage great powers' world order, and they will use political killings, annihilations, campaign in the legacy media, in order to promote disorder, conflicts, war, violence, and they will try to organize the split between possible allies, because the main ally for Trump now is Russia, because we have no any point of contradiction. If we calculate rationally and transparently our national interests, they don't overlap in any point. Maybe there are some points, but they are so few, so we could easily solve all the situation. So there is no reason to continue the war between the United States and Russia. And more than that, Russia, as one of the main pillar of this great powers world order, has all the interests to support Trump as another pole, as well as China, as well as India. So this club of already established civilizational states is the only superstructure that has real life interest to support each other, to reaffirm, to reinforce such situation. So I think that, but the globalists, they try to continue to fuel the war between Russia and United States and Ukraine. And that is what European leaders are doing now. They try to push Trump against China, and as a main competitor. They try to destabilize relations between China and India, as well in the border areas, and to promote the conflicts between India and Islamic world, Trump supporting Israel and Iran, and so on and so on. So they could not participate globalists could not participate in the civil war on the global scale directly. They are provocators. They will act from the behind the scenes, from the curtains, and that is easy. It is not easy to identify them. So that is common people has no capacity to see through this curtain. So that is the problem. So because they rule on lies, of total lies, on wrong images, on fake news, pretending to or not to either not to exist, or to be good motivated people, but in the reality, and they blame to be Nazis, to be aggressors, to be far right, those who on the contrary try to fulfill the real will and desire of the people. So they lie always, and that is a huge discovery for America, that the American people lived and still lives under huge pressure of the global, total, absolutely shameless lie, and that is the problem. That's why they could succeed, because they will try to trick, to cheat, to people's one more and more and more and more. So so why we need to think more about a kind of league of the civilization states, something like that, or club, in order to put the end of these incessant provocations of the globalists. And the fight is still here and will continue for sure. They will not recognize their defeat, but at the same time, we should confess that the multipolar world is much more real now than during last meeting with you 2 years ago. So yes, we have met previously in totally different conditions. There was the rise of multipolarity, and I think this time, after the Trump's victory, we have passed the point of no return. So that is irreversible. We are here in the multipolar world. Welcome to the multipolar world, to the global powers world order, but the fight will still continue.
Yeah. At the level of, as I say, the real people, it's very clear that the moment that the globalists start to lose the elections, not only in Europe, the conservatives start to win elections in Europe, but also in Brazil, is the same moment when criminality, violence, start to get substantially increased in Europe and in Brazil. So today in Brazil, the violence and criminality increase a lot. It's the same in Europe, Paris, Portugal. I live in Portugal now, but Lisbon, London, Paris is the same. Exactly what they are doing. They are creating the chaos, replacing immigrants for robbers, and try to support the organization, the big criminal organizations in Brazil. Now, just there's a news that came out of the blue like 3 hours ago. I saw that army guns were received, the Polícia Federal in Brazil received and got a huge organization. They are sending military armed guns to Brazil, believe it or not, by DHL. They are using the post office to receive guns, military guns in Brazil, exactly to distribute for this organization, criminal organization. This movement could be made only by globalists that know how to control this stuff, because you cannot just send a gun, a military gun, by the post office. That's crazy, but happened in Brazil. So it's a clear movement that they are losing the elections, and the criminality and violence is getting increased substantially because they want to promote the cause and comes with the solution that they create. That's the idea. I totally agree, and unfortunately, is what's happening for the very popular people. They are facing and experience a level of violence that's totally unbelievable in Brazil, in Europe as well. But thank you so much, Professor Dugin. I really appreciate your time, your ideas, and split your vision of the world and expand for Brazilians and for our public. Also, the perspective of Russians is important, and not only the Russian, but also the multipolarity world, because there is a lot of myth on that and bad propaganda around it. So it's always good. If you'd like to share some words for the Brazilians as well, it would be great for our public. And thank you again for your time. Really appreciate it, and hope next time we can make this conversation again in a different world with a different balance of power as well.
Bem-vindo na Rússia. Amo muito Brasil. Bem-vindo.
Thank you so much.